Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at patreon.com/inspired disorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Swipe up, the 152nd episode of the show where I share some posts from Instagram, I talk about them, I comment on them. I get banned and flagged by YouTube because they don't understand sarcasm or humor. But it is what it is. I'm talking about some Instagram posts. So let's get started, shall we? With a bit of a Jeopardy question. This Jeopardy host quit before he even started after Backlash. And the answer is Mike Richards. That's right. The guy who, when first announced, I thought was Michael Richards. And I was very confused why Jeopardy would hire Michael Richards, the guy who played Kramer from Seinfeld, who went on a racist rant at a comedy club. Why they would make him a new Jeopardy host. I'm not a big Jeopardy fan. Growing up, it was the thing that my grandparents had on at night while they drank tea. You know, and it's not something that I ever got into, Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. I mean, I definitely watched them, but it's not something that I have ever had a desire to go back to. And I've even played, they have some Jeopardy episodes on Netflix, I believe Netflix, one of the streaming services. And I put it on, and it's like, okay, I don't know. I'm just not into trivia that much. I'm into some trivia, I guess. It's just out of game shows, it's not one that really excites me, but it's something that excites a lot of people. So I've seen all of the controversy, and I knew that after Alex Trebek passed away, that they had done this like talent search. A bunch of guest hosts had kind of cycled through hosting the show, which was thought to be a way for them to find a new host, when in fact the executive producer, Mike Richards, just decided to make himself the host, which on its face is I wasn't happy with that. As far as people getting work based on, like, I don't know, like, I guess I just don't care, but it seemed a little shady. It seems shady when, like, the boss hires themselves to do a thing. It seems weird. Which, as far as weird things for a boss to do, not only did he hire himself, but he also fired himself because he quit. Because apparently he said some stuff on his podcast, which is whatever. I mean, people weren't happy with him, so of course they're gonna dig up everything they can on somebody they don't like, and it's if you've put out content, especially in podcast form, for any amount of time, you say a lot of things. And maybe you say some things that later on you change your opinion about, or you change your mind about, or maybe you didn't articulate your thoughts in the correct way in that moment, and they came out wrong. Or you're trying to make a joke. There's a lot of reasons why horrible things can reside and live forever on a podcast, which thankfully I'm not famous. I'm sure there's plenty of things that I've said in past podcasts which you would have to be a Patreon subscriber to find. But actually, that's not really true. If you wanted to dig for it, you could find that stuff. But not that I've said super hateful things on purpose in my voice as me. But I'm sure there's things that I would disagree with myself about. But thing is, I am a human that grows. I've grown. I've changed. I've, gotten into different things and understood that I was wrong in opinions that I used to hold are wrong. There has to be some kind of room for growth. That, like, just because the sad thing is the people that get caught doing some hateful shit are still doing the hateful shit. It's not like they've grown past it. Like, people who are saying, like, racist things and getting caught for saying racist things, like today, probably have been saying those racist things for a long time. So there's just no kind of evidence of growth there. But if you've changed and you've realized your mistakes in the past, I think there should be some room for growth. However, I don't really care about Mike Richards. He's still an executive producer. It's like whatever. But as far as like another white guy getting a host job, it just seems like, and not even like like out of all of the non-famous celebrity white guys, he's the guy because he's the boss. That's how he got it. I don't know. I don't really care about it, but I'm kind of happy, or was kind of also expecting him to not actually succeed at promoting himself or hiring himself as the host of Jeopardy. Either way, I'm not going to watch it. But, it's been an interesting kind of dramatic thread that's not political or doesn't have to do with Afghanistan or COVID. It's just, drama in game shows that I don't even watch. But it's been an interesting thing to follow online. And, it seems like it's concluded with that, which it is what it is. I'm neither here nor there with it. I would love to see LeVar Burton get it. I mean, that's what it feels like a lot of people. I'm just, I think it would be cool to see him as a game show host. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's move on, shall we? Let's move on to one of those other topics I said that Jeopardy wasn't. Let's move on to a topic of COVID-related things, which, everybody go get your vaccines. They're real. They work. Wear your masks. Don't be jerks. Don't harass people for wearing masks. It doesn't hurt you. They're not forcing you to wear a mask. Just be nice, especially if they're an old lady. But that's not what I'm talking about. It's not about that clip where that Trump supporter was yelling at an old lady for wearing a mask on the subway. This is about people in Mississippi. Mississippi officials warn against using livestock ivermectin to prevent COVID-19 after rise in poison control calls. So similarly to when our former president recommended bleach as a way to cure yourself of the COVID disease, and people were calling poison control because they were drinking bleach. There are people that for some reason, I don't know how they chose ivermectin, which is like a deworming for cattle. I don't know what kind of creativity the Q people or whatever, alternate science they do to trust that taking a dewormer for livestock is somehow something that would protect you against COVID or cure. I don't know if this is people that are taking it to treat and prevent COVID. They think it does both. Of course they do. Why not? It's not just a treatment, it's a prevention. So instead of getting the thing specifically designed by scientists, like scientists made ivermectin. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Scientists made that, but they made it to get rid of worms in livestock. Scientists also made the vaccine. Multiple scientists in multiple companies, independently, all over the world. Like, we have 3 in this country, but other countries, there are other pharmaceutical companies that came up with very similar vaccines for COVID that are free. If you live in the United States, you can get the vaccine for free, which is the only reason I have the vaccine. Not the only, I would have paid for it, but considering I don't have any income, free is a better way to go. So instead of going with the scientifically designed and now tested and about to be FDA approved vaccine that's specifically designed for the COVID virus, they're taking the scientifically designed dewormer that they have to pay for at a livestock store And they're taking that. Like, they're going out of their way to be stupid. They're spending money on their stupidity. I'm not surprised. Like, stupid people making stupid decisions and doing stupid things. Like, there's a reason why there's like all these like warning labels on everything, is because stupid people have been around forever. It's just now that they have a voice now because of Trump. Like, they feel emboldened with their stupidity. It's like, well, we got a stupid person in the office, so I can do whatever I want to do. It's funny. It's funny. It's a reality that's funny. I feel bad, I guess, that these people are poisoning themselves because they want to somehow own the libs. You know, like, oh, I'm not going to get your vaccine. I'm going to take like this random, like, I don't even understand. Like, if you were to do the yarn thing, you know, this conspiracy yarn thing where you connect the ivermectin to actually like dealing with COVID, like with the crazy science that they came up with, the quote unquote science that they came up with that links that livestock dewormer to a prevention/cure of COVID. Like, that kind of leap that you have, like, of all of the substances in the world that have been created by scientists that are designed to do and cure so many things, they chose livestock dewormer. You know, it's at least like vitamins and stuff. Like, Joe Rogan promotes, is an anti-vax guy, and he owns a vitamin supplement company. Like, vitamins and supplements, they do work, but they work like, you know, they only work so much. They're not like miracle. They're not vaccines. You can't cure polio with vitamin C. Don't quote me on that, but I would imagine it's not that easy. You're not going to like boil some valerian root and like cure like smallpox. You know, like, vitamins and minerals, they can help you on a day-to-day basis kind of optimize your brain, your gut. Like, they can optimize certain parts of yourself, but they're not like the almighty cure-all of things. Like, if you have a massive infection, Onnit you go to Onnit, the company Joe Rogan, you're not going to get a supplement that's going to cure your infection. If you got like MRSA, or if you get like gangrene, like, there's no Onnit product that's going to magically cure that thing. Like, there's a reason why there's different stuff, and even though I'm not a big fan of pharmaceutical companies, they make tons of money. They do still produce products that work. And sometimes they produce products that are actually beneficial to humanity. Sometimes. Usually they're just rebranding some other thing. Or just slightly changing the chemical composition of a thing so they can you know, patent it for and get that money. I don't know. People are stupid. They're going to do stupid things, man. If they want to take a bath with a toaster oven, do it, man. If you think you're going to like multitask your breakfast in that way, like, oh, I'm going to make breakfast while I bathe. Right? I feel bad for the people that enjoy your life. If one of my friends died because they take this shit, talking shit about that friend, even though they're dead. It's like, I'm sorry you died, but if you're making those decisions, I mean, it was a matter of time. Like, you can't protect dumb people from doing dumb things. They're just going to do them. As long as they're not hurting other people. which is the whole reason with this virus, is that all these people, if it was only something that couldn't be spread and that it was a personal decision that only affected you, then that would be a different argument. But it's not. It's you're spreading this deadly disease that's killing all kinds of people. But right now, it's primarily killing stupid people. And people, I mean, yeah, there's probably people like kids that can't get vaccinated yet, people with diseases that they can't get vaccinated. But there's a lot of the people that aren't vaccinated because of stupidity, because of a false education, because they listen to stand-up comedians like Joe Rogan for life-saving medical advice for some reason. I mean, he's not even that funny anymore. Rogan was funny in like the early 2000s. Like, the dude is out of touch in all of the ways. The dude, he like, as far as understanding what life would be like, as like my life as a 40-year-old struggling financially to survive. He has zero. He was probably a millionaire by the time he was 40. He hasn't had to think about money since his 20s. So he's out of touch. He doesn't care. He owns a supplement business. Profits are up, baby. Aside from, I'm sure, like the people that are dying, profits are up. But anyway, just take the vaccine, you dumb people. All right, let's move on to some good news. Some happy news. Stephen Brody Stevens was an amazing stand-up comedian. I'm wearing one of his shirts, one of his pieces of merchandise. He's no longer with us. Suffered with mental health issues throughout his career. Had a lot of ups and downs with his struggle with mental health, and lost his battle a couple years ago. I believe it was like 2 years ago when he killed himself. But he's a big character, a big person, a big personality in LA. A lot of people loved him. He's been getting a lot of love and a lot of accolades posthumously. But one of the awesome things, one of Brody Stevens' jokes is 818 till I die, and I think that's the area code for the part of the valley that he lived in, and I think Reseda. And there's a park out there, and there's a bench that was dedicated to him. I think Rockin' Pins was behind getting that bench out there and dedicated to Brody Stevens. But it's been official that August 18th, 818, is Brody Stevens Day, is in L.A. It's an official holiday for Los Angeles, Brody Stevens Day. And I didn't find out until the day after. But thankfully, on that day, I didn't do anything. I took the day off and just had a good day. And I think that's what Brody would want everybody to do on Brody Stevens Day, is just to positive energy, push and believe. You got it. And it's really cool to see all of the people, all the comedians that showed up to honor this ceremony of Brody Stevens Day being, formed and created. Awesome. If I was in the area, I probably would have gone. I got to meet Brody once outside of the Ice House. And got to see him do comedy a few times, and he's one of the most unique stand-ups, and had one of the most unique styles. He's one of the comedians that doesn't live by these rules that a lot of stand-up comedians have, where it's like you have to have a mic, like if you're doing music or you're doing clips or you got a board, you have anything but a microphone, and you're not doing set up punch, you're not a comic. Like, there's some comedians that are very specific. They follow a very strict set of rules of what they believe stand-up comedy is. And as far as what I feel when it comes to art, any kind of creative pursuit, is there is no rules. Everybody that follows any kind of these made-up rules of how a thing should be done will never create anything original. There's no chance of you creating anything original if all you're doing, I mean, you may have an original voice, but you're not going to be, you're never going to be more than, you're going to be stuck. There's going to be a ceiling that those rules keep you under. Now, I'm not talking about limitations in being creative. I'm just talking about people that act like there's rules to anything, rules to comedy. It's stupid. You're just trying to make people laugh. Don't be so self-serious that it's gotta be either in a 3, 10-minute or 60-minute form. You can't do there's no such thing. You have to have a stool, a glass of water, a microphone, and a light. It's got to be dark. Don't want to have any instruments, nothing. Yeah, Brody didn't care about any of that. He did everything. He was having fun, and he lived his true self. He was the most unique voice in comedy, and very sad to see him go. But it's his memory and his legacy live on. Like, everything that Brody wanted his career to be, his legacy seems to be, far exceeded any expectations. And it's sad and amazing, and I will miss Brody Stevens, and yeah. So anyway, let's move on. Last but not least, the most serious news. The most serious piece of information that's happened this past week is the fact that OnlyFans says it will be banning sexually explicit content. Do you understand that that's like Pornhub saying that they're no longer going to be serving porn? OnlyFans isn't all porn, but that's kind of the idea. That's the thrust. That's the pinnacle. I mean, there's probably, if you go on Pornhub, you could probably find some bootleg version of a movie that you like that has nothing to do with porn, right? And in OnlyFans, there's probably accounts that are just similar to like a Patreon page, but it's just set up through OnlyFans, which I know a bunch of podcasters, comedians have set up OnlyFans pages for that purpose, to be like a Patreon type of a thing. Which apparently OnlyFans thinks that that's going to be... Here's the thing. OnlyFans is going to be gone. This pivot that they're doing, that's not what they're known for, and that's not what people are going to be going there for. People aren't going there for podcast supplemental content. People are going there for porn. Trust me, I've done the research. Out of all these topics that I'm discussing, I have the most experience and done the most research on OnlyFans, and I'm saying this is like gas stations saying that they're no longer going to sell gas. They're like, oh, we're just going to sell the shitty donuts inside. It doesn't make any sense. But there's other competitors out there. OnlyFans isn't the only one. There's a bunch of other ones, which... none of them have like that brand recognition that OnlyFans has, which is the crazy thing. It's like Kleenex no longer selling facial tissue. It's like you have that brand notoriety in amateur sex work, quote unquote sex work, and you're just throwing that away. And apparently, I've skimmed like as far as why they're doing that. Apparently the company that they use to host the site, I believe, maybe servers, maybe it's a company that allows you to set up, like, I don't know. There's a company above OnlyFans apparently that is saying no more. So it's going to be interesting to see what replaces OnlyFans, but yeah, and I don't know any of the details. I don't know what happens to the content that's already up there. Are they going to go through and shut accounts down? I don't understand what process they're going to go through, because as like somebody, if you're a creator or a seller or a consumer on the site, like there's like a lot of ways where you can sell content. You can put content up. It's like a subscription thing. So if, like, let's say I had an OnlyFans page. You could subscribe to my page, and if only subscribers would be able to see my feed. And I could post whatever I want on the feed. I could show you my nipples. I could bend over and spread my ass cheek open, and you could see my butthole. Like, they had some rules. Like, I guess you can't piss, or you can't, like, show lactation. There's a few rules that they had previously. But it's like, it was a private feed. And assumed to be, you have to verify your age when you set up. You have to send them a copy of your ID. You have to, it's all like legitimate. But and then you could also sell like other clips. Like if you have like, ooh, I did this tarantula eating challenge, and I'm going to sell you, like, if you want to see it, it's going to be an extra $5 on top of what you get in my feed because you subscribe to me. So there's a lot of that content, whether it's the feed content or content that somebody may have purchased on the side. What happens to that stuff? Because that stuff should be private, like the tarantula eating. But if you can't serve up that tarantula eating stuff, they're like, we're no longer going to let people eat spiders. Then do they go through and, like, do they have people going through to monitor the videos and delete them? I don't know those answers. But it's like one of the dumbest, like, business moves. Like, if I was the owner of OnlyFans, the last thing I would ever do, like, I would just shut the company down altogether. I would do that before this move, where it's like somehow we're going to try and pivot into non-sex content. Doesn't make any sense. It'll be interesting. I have a few friends that are in that world or have been at one point or another, so maybe there'll be a follow-up. I doubt there will be. I probably will never talk about this again unless there is, like, more drama within the OnlyFans business model. But yeah, OnlyFans no longer doing porn. It's crazy. Let's do some shout-outs and get out of here, shall we? Shout out to BuzzFeed News, shout out ABC News, and shout out the Comedy Store. But most importantly, shout out to you. Get yourself some amazing coffee over at stationhousecoffee.com and follow Station House Coffee on Instagram. That's your place for small batch, single origin, premium coffee brewed in Thetford Center, Vermont, shipped directly to you. Go now to stationhousecoffee.com and order yourself some amazing coffee. And don't forget to follow Station House Coffee. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/Inspired Disorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Peace out!